The Black Raven is a 18th century, maybe early 19th century necromantic grimoire in the Faustian tradition that has recently been republished by Hadean Press, translated from the German by Brian Johnson and edited by Alexander Cummins. So yeah, we can see the subtitle here, A Study on the Folk Necromancy of Early Modern Germany. And yeah, it's Hadean Press's usual great quality container and content. You can always trust Hadean Press to bring you real stuff, good stuff in beautiful, sturdy packaging. So let me just give you a quick look at these lovely end papers. Look how beautiful this is. Isn't that lovely? Can I zoom in even closer? Beautiful, beautiful. Head of a raven there. The book is covered in this faux leather and it's blind embossed. Actually, not quite blind embossed. It looks a lot whiter or grayer on the picture than it does in real life. In real life, this really barely stands out, but it is definitely a very dark grey paint. Can I give you an accurate idea? Oh, there we go. If I stand away from the light over here, this is kind of what it looks like. There we go. You're getting a look at my dirty kitchen by the in the process. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the contents. Oh, no, one last thing maybe about the production. It is Smith sewn, very nice paper as usual, quite white paper, quite brilliant white, and yeah, a pretty presentation in general. So this is as I was saying, an 18th, possibly 19th century Faustian grimoire that goes into the process of unearthing hidden treasure. That is the ultimate purpose of this grimoire. And the grimoire itself is quite short, right? Let me just show you the English translation starts here. And it goes on for just a few pages until, yeah, this is still English. Yeah, there we go. So it's, you can see it's just really just a few pages there. Boom. That's it. That's the sum total of the grimoire itself. But then you get the original German, and then you get the facsimile original manuscripts, and then you get some essays. Well, there's an introductory essay, and then there are a couple of essays, one by Brian Johnson, specifically on the term Stammgeist, which is very interesting. It's a word that apparently is very rare and doesn't come up very often, but essentially means a haunting spirit or a spirit that is rooted to a particular location. And Brian Johnson, being the translator, was obviously very interested in this particular word and the associated lore that comes along with this particular type of spirit. And then there is, what I feel is well, maybe it's because I'm the right audience for it, but I feel this is really the substance of the book, which is Alexander Cummins's line by line, essentially, analysis of the grimoire, going into great detail so that we can potentially make use of this grimoire. Well, he finishes his analysis here, his dissertation, his commentary, by suggesting that maybe the grimoire is not super useful for the non-adept, as it does expect the worker to already have consecrated tools, to know how to consecrate. Very often the grimoire suggests to do the usual, this kind of thing. So Dr. Cummins does say this is no, he says, this is no one-stop shop grimoire, right? This isn't going to teach you the art of conjuring spirits if you are completely new to the topic. That said, there are some really interesting innovations and some really interesting curiosities about this. For example, these lines of glyphs, which are not explained, right? At no point is it said you should wear these as a layman. At no point is it said you should inscribe them out in front of you in the air, or anything like that, or write them out in a circle or anything like that. They just appear, just randomly, pray a devout Our Father. I tried to work out if this could be the Our Father spelt out in glyphs. Who knows? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And Alexander Cummins spends a little bit of time in this final analysis pointing out that, well, we literally don't know. He reached out to a colleague grimoirist, well known. I'm afraid I'm so sorry, I forget his name. He just suggested that these might be mnemonic glyphs pointing to a working, right? Just so that the practitioner doesn't have to read out how to do it, but literally just look at the symbols and knows what to do next. Who knows? Potentially, possibly. Why not? It's one of the possible options. But all in all, there are some very interesting variations on well-known grimoires here, notably the Heptameron and the Arbatel. Some slightly different naming, but on the whole the same thing. And then what? And then we get also some completely unknown spirit names, which is also pretty cool. I really like the fact that this is all very much geared towards unearthing lost treasure and getting rid of evil spirits that might be guarding that uncovered treasure or lost treasure or whatever it might be. But also putting to rest the spirit of who knows, the miser maybe, whose ghost might still be haunting the place and so on. Very, very cool stuff. And of interest, I think, to anyone who's just generally into grimoire history, not necessarily to someone who's looking to find lost treasure, right? I mean, unless you're already a grimoirist who searches for lost treasure, in which case this is going to be of great interest to you. But if you're just a hobbyist and you're thinking to yourself, oh, looking for lost treasure could be fun, let's pick up the Black Raven. This is not going to be your introduction to finding lost treasure, unfortunately, by means of conjuring spirits. Yeah, that's just not going to happen. All of that said, I do want to say that, we are being led here by the two greatest in their fields. Brian Johnson, absolutely the best translator there is out there, and Alexander Cummins, very much at the top of his own field of analyzing grimoires and grimoiric practices. And we're very privileged, I think, to have these two greats presenting these books in this lovely publication by Hadean Press. There we go, folks. I think that's everything that I'm going to have to say here. Maybe a little note that this is, an 18th century grimoire. So if you're expecting an absence of Christianity in here and a modern approach to treating evil spirits kindly and things like this, then or an absence of calling them evil spirits, even, then no, this is not the book for you. But I think this book is going to find its audience very, very easily, and it's a great addition to the modern revival of grimoire history. So that's very, very cool. There we go. That's The Black Raven by Brian Johnson and Dr. Alexander Cummins, published by Hadean Press. Links in the description. Thanks for watching, everyone. Do look after yourselves, look after each other. I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye-bye.